Hello there once again. My name's Kagami and we're playing Katawa Shoujo and I'm having a great time with it. My morning alarm goes off, but we didn't get to hear it because that was last episode. I flail about uselessly for a while until I remembered that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I'm determined to keep going. This is about my health after all. Sure, things have been great lately for me, but that hasn't made existence so intolerable that I'm going to try everything I can to stay healthy. Besides, it's all about asserting some kind of control over the thing, right? If I can manage that, well, I can manage anything. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emi has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the hell did she come down here, anyway? Oh, it's you. I'm surprised to see you again. Why's that? Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try. She frowns, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought. Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning. A shrug, and suddenly it appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. The frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought. So, come on then. What? You're here to run again, right? Well, yes. So come on! I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling while Emi moves with an effortlessness that I find invadable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work towards things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emi seems to have grown impatient, keeping pace with me, and she begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? Okay, so there's actually a slight problem with our last episode. My computer crashed, and it cut out my recording right there. I decided to... and it crashed, and it deleted my save data, so I had to redo everything. There's a mode where you can quick do it. That's why my playtime has reset. It's like at 4 minutes. But anyway, I chose to not go super fast and like push myself because you got heart problems, running, heart, all that good stuff. I don't want to kill myself because if I died in that episode, that would be sad. So I let Emi go at her own pace. She doesn't know. She doesn't show mercy, pulling half a lap ahead of me in an instant. I don't blame her. I mean, it's not as if I'm really putting any sort of real fight out here, is it? Hold on a second. Timer. Okay. Instead, I'm just running at a steady pace, which is what I should be doing, right? There's no need to go pushing my limits at this stage of the game. God, is it even worth it? As we finish the second lap, I break off again. Emi keeps going, and it almost seems to me that she's disappointed. Well, that's stupid. I don't have anything to prove to her. Come to think of it, I've got nothing to prove to myself either. I'm just fine the way I am. And what I'm not is a runner. This is probably a bad idea. Maybe there's something else I can do instead of this. Getting up this early sucks anyway. There's got to be some other way to keep healthy. Walking, maybe. Nice afternoon walks. Yeah, that sounds good. Running isn't for me. I wave to Emi and head back to my room. I'll think of something else later. Back in my room, the first thing I see is the familiar row of medication bottles lined on top of my dresser. Sorry, that's my phone. And it makes me depressed as usual. It's annoying. I thought I was okay, and I had made my peace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. Reflecting on it is only going to do so much. I've done this before for months. It seems like the time to get over it. If I allow myself to forget that my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it is a life in progress. That is how I'll rationalize it. I down a handful of pills, trying to push the sudden dreary feeling out of my head. Then I prepare to head out to class early as usual. As I step into the hallway, I notice Kenji coming around the hall. Oh no, it's Kenji! The hallway corner, stealthily making his way over to his room with a large bag. As he sneaks past me soundlessly like a ninja hiding in plain sight, I call out to him. Hey! He jumps at the sound of my voice.
Oh, hey man, I didn't notice you there. I'm really tired.
I think it's more like he didn't see me, but that's not the issue. Where have you been this early? Shopping?
No, I wasn't shopping. Sometimes I have to visit the math teacher. Yeah, I figured it would be a good idea to find out when the next exam is, since he tells you in advance if you want.
So then what's in the bag?
Yeah, I thought I'd go shopping when I was outside. It's supplies containing the fight against the vast feminist conspiracy.
Okay. I thought you didn't go outside.
I wear a hat now.
I decided not to point out the fact that he's not wearing a hat. An awkward silence settles between us, and then Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open slowly, releasing a creaking sound into the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. He set the bag down inside his room and closes the door. I'm surprised you went out of your way to find out a test date. Trying to take advantage of opportunity to study is pretty diligent.
I never study.
Oh.
I just wanted to know when the next text day was. I'm still going to take it, duh. I need to know so I know what day I can afford to skip classes. He usually sends out updates of that crap by phone, but I had to step out and check on it.
And why did you have to go out when you can get it on your phone?
I don't carry a phone.
What do you mean you don't carry a phone? You mean you just leave it at home?
Nah, I don't use phones. I don't have a phone. Phones. I have no phone. Why don't you have a phone? How can you not have a phone? No phone at all. No phone? I just don't like phones. Actually, I'm kind of scared of them. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of repressed trauma. But basically, when I hear a phone, I get nervous. It's my darkest secret. I have two theories on it. Either I have some fear of receiving some undefined, ominous, life-altering doom call, or I was beaten with a phone in the past. Beaten so badly I can't remember it.
Beaten in the head?
Well, where else could I get beaten up with a phone? That would make me unable to remember it. The ass?
Unexpectedly logical. I feel very depressed now. Sensing the conversation is more or less over, Kenji opens his door again and prepares to head inside.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep, dude. Have a good one.
Class is gonna start in like 20 minutes.
I already did something today. Too tired to go to school. Hey, you need some lip balm? I accidentally bought two because I thought the store had started selling individual AA batteries.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Whatever, man.
He swiftly enters his lair, finally letting me go to the class. For a change, I'm not among the first ones to come in the morning class. Instead, almost everyone seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their faces by now, though the name escapes me still. The class goes on lazily, thinking I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive the first days. I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes a lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. What? The remainder of his sentences blurred beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Muto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down to the cafeteria. Hiseo! I'm going to make you a one-time only super extra special lunch offer. Emi's homemade lunch boxes and the privilege of enjoying them in private with two bombshell beauties. Her overly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway, a remarkable feat since it's full of people. Emi strikes a very confident-looking pose as an attempt to one-up her own ridiculousness, puffing her very modest chest and making the V for victory sign with her hand. Sounds delicious. To what do I owe the honor of being invited? He stood there looking really lost and sad, so I thought I'd come use some company. That is possibly the most depressing reason imaginable. So how about it? You're probably really lonely and would eat that awful cafeteria food all alone otherwise. I'm kidding. Sure, I'll have your lunch offer with pleasure. Let's go to the roof. The roof? Why the roof? Because that's where we eat lunch. And if I don't get up there, she'll probably wander off, and then I just don't know. She'll go hungry because she never packs a lunch for herself. Who will? Come with me. Without answering my question or waiting for a response, she grabs me by the arm and drags me through the hallways. I attempt to make conversation on the way. Why do you have an extra lunch? Emi smiles guiltily. Actually, it's yesterday's lunch. I slipped in a run at lunch and forgot to eat it. Huh? The stairway to the roof is a little that word, but it's clearly been used recently. And at the top of the stairs is a door complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emi shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emi flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs. Hello. Eek! I read those wrong. Yikes, you scared me, Rin. Oh, I know her. Wait, isn't she? Yeah, it's her. Hello? Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emi looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confused at Emi. She's that friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emi. The awkward silence only lasts for a few seconds. Still, Emi lets out a tiny giggle, shrugs the coincidence off. I invited Hiseo for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as the other schools. A few run-down benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence and take a look over the school grounds beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks as a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the torn center of the small town, feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems too far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depends on it, or get their senses overloaded by neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine. Looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only a short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly I didn't have time to think about it and feel. When I step out of the shadows of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to, just a few weeks ago. Emi settled on a bench with Rin in tow and produced 1 big and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Hiseo, what are you waiting for? She's beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I seat myself on the corner of the bench and take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emi suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin, and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch as promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks, I make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off, and as I set about my business, feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and poking a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I am in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emi tearing into her lunch as if she had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emi looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite, which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you'd lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choked on my lunch trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the morning too? Oh god. Those are so bad. Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think the answers my question. Never mind. So, I started to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rin seems content to let Emi answer the question. And we'll leave that as our cliffhanger for the next episode. So I hope you enjoy. And I'm sorry about the small technical problem. I will do what I can to not have it happen. But, you know, when EMPs strike and you have to fix everything from scratch, it's really hard. So have a fantastic evening, everyone. Bye-bye.